Welcome to NewsNation's Backscroll, where we look back at our major news coverage on the most important topics and personalities of our time.
The French have started calling those jewel thieves who hit the Louvre Museum a commando team. And judging from the video, looks like there were 4 of them. But tonight, 7 suspects are in custody. And that includes the 2 guys who were arrested a few days ago, who authorities say, quote unquote, partially admitted their involvement, whatever the hell that means. And 5 more were picked up all around Paris last night. Police say only 1 of the suspects was part of the actual heist. The rest, we assume, allegedly helped with the planning or the getaway or both, but that has not been disclosed. We do know at least 1 suspect was traced by DNA on one of the getaway scooters, and 2 are former delivery drivers with criminal records for, you guessed it, theft. Authorities say they are hopeful that 1 or more of the suspects, quote, may be able to inform us where to find the other suspects. And I'm saying, how about more importantly, where are the jewels? Because they're still unaccounted for. French people everywhere, I say chin up. When the Mona Lisa was stolen way back in 1911, yes, she was stolen. It took 2 years, but they found her and they brought her back, which may explain that smirk. If I have learned anything from movies like Ocean's 11, it is this. If you are trying to pull off a heist, get in, get out, make it quick. And up until now, that is exactly what we thought happened when $100 million worth of precious gems were stolen from the Louvre Museum in Paris in just 7 minutes. But newly released footage shows that the caper could have been a lot quicker had it not been for the absolute clown car getaway. Take a look. I was shocked when I saw this was it. This was how they got out. You can see the bucket that they used for the escape. It's descending to the ground. This is real time, folks. It's not slow-mo. And it is nothing like the fast break that we'd imagined they'd planned. Security guards can actually be heard in the background swearing at themselves in French for having let the thieves get away. Take a look at this.
Merde. Okay, merci.
For my French speakers out there, look up merde, and you'll know what they said. With the amount of time it takes them to get down this mechanized ladder, I'm sure I'd be swearing too. By the way, you would notice there that one of the figures was wearing a motorcycle helmet, but the other guy was not. The other guy who was craning his neck over the bucket and looking down. I keep wondering if he's looking down for a fallen helmet, perhaps. If so, it certainly doesn't seem like they were able to find any fallen helmet if it fell before making the getaway on the scooters. And if that is what he was looking for, that could have been a real costly mistake. ABC News is reporting that investigators were able to take DNA from both, get this, a helmet and a glove, and they're in the process of testing it. The thieves also left behind another item, one that they tried and failed to steal. The crown of Napoleon III's wife. Get this, it's made of 1,354 diamonds, 56 emeralds, and multiple gold eagles. Thank God they screwed up on this one. But believe it or not, there's actually a small upside to this devastating heist. It's done wonders for tourism at the Louvre. Social media is jam-packed with true crime-hungry internet sleuths piecing together how the band of thieves could have pulled this off. And the online interest is expected to bring even more tourists to the museum. That is, if the museum can handle it. Last June, the Louvre had to shut down for a few hours because the staff went on strike, citing untenable working conditions because there were just too many visitors.
Joining me now is Larry Lawton, a former jewel thief himself. Although I guess I should say Larry, reformed jewel thief, I'm assuming.
Yes, very much so.
Okay, but still some insight here for us. What do you make of this robbery that happened, in broad daylight? People were in the museum when this happened.
Well, that didn't surprise me. All of mine, over 25 jewelry stores, $18 million was done during the day. who were never. You had to plan them. Let me give you just a little insight in that. You take this heist; it was very well planned. They had to know who was going to be near the motorcycles. Was cops going? When you case a place like this, you have to know so much. You have to know where the cops are going to be. Like in my case, where the mailman would be coming. Same with here. They knew exactly what time to go in there. They knew where that truck was. So they had inside help. Somebody, it could have been with the construction company that really was working there, or it could have been an employee of the museum. It could have been anybody, but they had to know exactly where to go straight away. They weren't looking for something, they went right to it. Then they had to know they can get through the barrier, the glass or the protection it had. They really missed the boat on security as well. So I'm blaming the Louvre on that. And I think that's what a lot of this is about. They got a lot of mud on their face because they didn't protect stuff that could be ruined forever. And I could get into that if you'd
What
like.
do we know about the jewels that were stolen, how they were, protected in the museum at that time? What was the security around them? How much could they be worth?
Well, obviously, yeah, the only way to know the worth when it's something like this is the actual diamonds and how much carats are and stuff like that. But that's really not what the worth is, obviously. You're taking Napoleon's crown or whoever they are, and it's crazy. Now, as far as the security itself, these museums are missing the boat. I'm telling it straight. They had a robbery a few years back, maybe 3 years back, in Germany with $1 billion in a museum. London, Norway, they're having a lot of these out there. And, when you have a commodity like diamonds or gold, where it's more important than cash, because I could put $30 million of diamonds in my pocket. I can't put $30 million in my pocket in cash. So now that's why they robbed $134 million 8 years ago, I think, in the Ritz-Carlton, right, in France. 134 million in a briefcase. Guy walked in and took it. Now, those are planned and inside jobs. So this one has to have some kind of connection. They're going to look at that. And their security is very lax. You're letting, first of all, if you had that much value, you would have a guard watching these construction workers all day. You don't want them to do what happened. Obviously, these guys cased it. They knew what was going to happen. So they have either someone in there or it's an employee in there. I mean, construction person or actually an employee. And that's getting, hey, listen, there's a lot of, just forget that. What about the Mona Lisa? A room away. It was robbed in
Yeah.
2000 in what, 1911. But it's not. Here's why people go after the diamonds and the gold. They can melt it down. They can sell it. They can carat. They can put it in ears. A lot you can do with diamonds.
I guess
What are you gonna do?
that was my next question, Larry, is what do you do with all of these jewels? Because I imagine, we're talking about it. You've got police everywhere looking for these guys. I mean, there's a lot of people looking for this, so you can't just go out and just sell it.
No, you could never sell. I couldn't even sell a regular piece of it with what they call a signature piece. These are all signature pieces. They can't sell those as is.
So what do you do?
Unless it's a crazy old, some eccentric person that wants to remember the Thomas Crown affair. But anyway, what they're going to do with this is break it down. Take every diamond out of that, melt down the gold, and then take the diamonds and nobody will ever know where those diamonds came from because they're not marked. They're not what they call Lazar Kaplan, which is laser cut diamonds. They have serial numbers actually in there. You can only see with a 10-powered microscope, but they're not going to have any of that because it's so old. So what they're going to do is break it down, or they can actually go the insurance route. Keep it, let it stay there for a year, let the heat die down. It's going to be forgotten somewhat. Then the museum is going to give out a reward, guaranteed. No questions reward for $1 million, $2 million, whatever they come up with. And I know of people in prison that waited for that.
And of course, being the shocking theft of more than $100 million in crown jewels from the iconic Louvre Museum. 8 pieces were stolen by 4 brazen thieves, all within a matter of minutes on Sunday morning. There's still no sign of the jewels or of the thieves who took them. The museum's president and director told French lawmakers today that she had submitted her resignation to the Minister of Culture, only for it to be refused. She then admitted that security lapses do indeed exist at the museum. She said security surrounding the perimeter had long been a problem, not enough money. As for the Apollo Gallery, where the thieves stole the jewels, she said there was only one security camera installed nearby and that it was outside the gallery and it was facing the wrong way. It did not cover the windows, she said, where the thieves broke in using power tools after scaling a crane placed outside.
If we're talking about the weak points, our weakness is that deeply we were not able to spot the arrival of the thieves sufficiently in advance. The weaknesses of the protection of our perimeter is known and identified.
But there is a bit of good news involving this bedazzled Empress Eugenie crown police found outside the museum after the robbery. The thieves apparently dropped it as they ran. They also apparently crushed it as they tried to get it out of the display case. Tonight, however, the museum says it can be repaired. For more on all this, we're joined now by Robert Whitman, former FBI Special Senior Investigator and founder of the FBI National Art Crime Team. So, Robert, you say the real challenge for thieves in a heist like this isn't stealing the stuff, it's selling it. How do you offload $100 million worth of jewelry that's world famous and centuries old?
That's always the question, isn't it? I mean, you know, what are you going to do with it? The real art in an art heist, it isn't the stealing, it's the selling. The idea is to monetize this, and there's only really two ways to monetize it. One is to, basically pop all the diamonds out, take it apart, sell the gems separately, sell the diamonds separately, and then melt down whatever's left and try to use it for, base metal. In this case, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think they did this for that purpose. The other way to monetize this would be to have the country of France offer a reward for information leading to the recovery, not the prosecution, the recovery of the artworks. And at that point, there might be a possibility that these thieves try to figure out how to collect that reward.
Yeah, but that involves having somebody call it and say, hey, look what I found on the bench in my park, and have a plausible explanation for that, and then collecting that money. Listen, these thieves posed as construction workers. They were all wearing yellow vests. No one gave them a second look as they were going up on this crane because there was so much other construction going on outside the Louvre. This isn't the first time you've seen this tactic before.
I've seen the workman tactic before. I did a case in Nice, France, involving the Museum of Fine Arts in Nice. And in that situation, 4 paintings were stolen by a group of individuals this was a gunpoint robbery, who actually went in dressed in white overalls like they were maintenance workers.
Right.
And they made their getaway in a white van. And also on a motorcycle. So that's not unusual. In this case, that's what they did with the yellow high visibility vests. And that kind of made people not worry about them at the time.
Yeah,
but
nobody
then, of course,
gave them a second look.
Once they started cutting, it was a whole different story.
Hey, super quick, when you were working undercover with this big unit with the FBI, you actually posed as someone who wanted to buy stolen art or jewels. Do you think there are undercover agents fanning out across Europe doing that, posing as buyers of, the crowns and the diamonds and emeralds?
Yeah, well, I think that the organization that does this investigation in Paris is the BRB, and that's the Brigade Against Bandits. That's the name of their squad. And I think that they have a great informant network in Paris. And I'm sure, these 4 guys, they're talking. They're talking to each other. They're on cell phones right now. They're talking to each other. They're probably talking to other people. And if we can get a reward offer out there, that'll generate interest and leads from people who are hearing things. That's the purpose of that.
We shall see.
Yeah, that BRB's got that great informant network. We'll see if they can get some good leads out of it.
The most visited museum in the world forced to shut down after masked robbers managed to make out with some of the world's most precious jewels right from inside the Louvre. The stolen goods, including 9 pieces from the museum's Apollo collection, believed to be worth millions of dollars. How they pulled it off, you just wouldn't believe it. Their tool of choice actually was a miniature chainsaw, and their getaway car was scooters. The thieves managed to do all of that in under 5 minutes. So how on earth does something like this happen? Well, hopefully we got some answers here from NewsNation law and justice contributor Jennifer Coffindoffer, a former FBI special agent. Thanks so much, Jennifer, for joining me again.
Yeah, absolutely, Alex. Good to see you.
Good to see you, too. So what do you think? Was this a highly skilled group of thieves or just a massive mistake by museum security?
Now, listen, there was no sophistication here. This is a true smash and grab. I mean, they used a cherry picker to go up and use grinders, open up those doors. 4 people, they go in, they know exactly where they're going. They smash and grab the items that were there and then run out, leaving one behind accidentally, the big crown. Then they tried to light their getaway truck on fire, and that was foiled by police. So not sophisticated, but they planned this well.
So you said they knew exactly where they were going. Does that give you an indication that they might have had some inside help here?
You know, that's exactly where I was going, Alex. Listen, there's 1,300 security guards there. That's a lot of security guards. There's 782,000 square feet to be covered, but they knew exactly where they were going. And this area, Napoleon's area, is very interesting. It's all by itself. I've been there 3 times. It's beautiful. They knew exactly where they were going, and I think that's inside information.
So the big question is, and I think a lot of people look at a crown that's bejeweled and they say, who's going to buy something like that? And I think it's my understanding, right, that essentially what these thieves do is they take the precious metals and they melt them down sometimes within an hour of the actual heist happening. So the crown is essentially unidentifiable, and then they can sell the metals and the jewels. Is that your understanding of what would happen next if these thieves got away with it?
Yes, but I think it's in reverse order. I think there was a fence that was likely already set up that would have been willing to accept these jewels, because these are huge jewels and hundreds of jewels and diamonds and emeralds and precious stones. So I think they had in advance set up who would be the fence and who would take these items and how they would be sold after that.
So maybe not sophisticated, but well planned. Okay, Jennifer Coffindoffer, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.
This week on The Smart Money, rockets, relics, rivalries, and redemption. Let's start in Paris with that truly brazen Louvre heist. At least $100 million in jewels gone in minutes. The suspects still on the run. And users on platforms like Kalshi and Polymarket are already speculating on whether the robbers are destined for jail time. Most in the betting pool think the robbers will be caught before the year's out. But then you've got quite a few people betting that a big arrest will be made by the end of next week. Whether we'll see any of those stunning jewels again, well, that's another question.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.